Order. Public comment. Any other public comment? Committee reports? You want to start, Jeff?
Okay, budget-wise, we do have something to consider, and I talked to the sheriff. With everything going the way it is, and a couple of retirements and payouts and everything else, right now, we're looking at about $51,000 over budget, okay? I just want to make sure everybody's, his attitude, I met with him like you guys asked me to, talk to him for a while. Yeah, Sheriff Motley. And his attitude was, we're gonna do the best we can, we're gonna cut, we're gonna limit overtime, and we're just basically gonna hold what we can. But I'm available to the committee, and, you know, if there's solutions or concerns, we'll address them, okay? That has nothing to do with the payout on the two deputies. In a way, indirectly it does, because one of them was put back on, and we have not replaced or limited the staff. So from that standpoint, we need to go over that.
That'd be about $50,000.
Now,
Well,
overtime, we've had retirements, we've had people that have left. Danny left, and then you got training, you got overtime coverage. It doesn't take terrible long to remember, we subtracted 163,000 from his budget, and then I'm not making excuses, it's just we have to deal with it.
two deputies last night at ER, and one said, well, I should be off 2 hours ago, but now I gotta work overtime because we had
Right.
suicidal from the jail.
Right, stuff
What do you
happens.
do? I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you can't do nothing about it, it's gonna
Right.
happen.
You know, I mean, so a lot of these things are strictly payroll issues that are fairly non-controllable.
Yeah.
Okay? As far as the airport, the committee met last Friday, interviewed candidates for the airport manager position, and selected Jerry Griffin as our recommendation to the board. We cannot, the committee can't hire. We're simply recommending to the board that Jerry Griffin be hired. In the interim, we're going to put him on for training, and Dale is going to work with him for the next couple of weeks in between Oshkosh and so forth, so that he can get his feet on the ground. If there's no concerns about that, which I didn't figure there would be, we'll start that tomorrow. He'll be willing to start. Dale talked to this morning, he's willing to help, and so that's moving forward.
What about Lisa, is she gonna stay there too? Or?
We've discussed nothing else as far as the airport at this point. This morning I went out there and met with, Jim Bennett was on his way out, and help me here, Gary Randall was there. He's putting in the door in the office this morning, and we had a couple of things that Jim needed to do to get things squared away for electricity and phone lines. And then eventually Jim will help Gary on that store, or that workshop over in the other building. And they're gonna start that today and do all the things that are necessary there, out in the hangar.
Okay.
The-
Has there been any conversation with Dave?
Yeah, a little bit. Jerry's already started working on him a little bit.
That's
Right, and I think that's gonna be a great advantage.
right.
Because they've known each other for a long time. And I think that Jerry can relate with David.
Right.
Okay, and then once we get, and not to talk about personnel too much, but I think once that smooths out, then we can look at
Other stuff.
yeah, and we can maybe get Jerry more motivated, okay, with that, you know, and I think things will be better. So those things are under control. If you want to know and you're out there, the snow plow is back here until we get things squared away, and the cat and the old pickup truck are down in the storage building. just so you'll know in case somebody asks, okay? We also will be recommending to the board, I'm sorry, to the chairman for board approval, the following people to be put on the advisory board. That would be Joe Shiner, Dale Barkley, Jake Barrett, and Jerry Kessler. So
Jerry,
those.
I'm not familiar with this.
Well, Jerry is a ESDA person over in Indiana,
Vigo County.
Vigo County. He was pretty much first up to be ESDA director,
Okay.
but then we realized that he didn't want to give up, he was going to be dual, and that just wasn't going to work for our needs. So he's highly thought of, and
Okay.
he has a mechanics, airplane mechanics background, and so he has,
So, the advisory committee doesn't have to be from Edgar County?
He lives
oh, he lives in Edgar
Oh,
County.
okay.
down Elbridge.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you meant he lived.
No, and I didn't say
That's all
that,
right.
but
Okay.
anyway, so we've got a
Okay.
group here that's pretty excited about it, and so we're looking forward to that. Okay? Are there any
Okay.
questions about the
Well, if
airport?
Donna gets on it, she won't have that story, right? Even if she's on it.
Okay. Let's see, we do have the letter drafted, and it's at the state's attorney for the farmers.
Oh,
Okay, and I'll make sure that's available to the committee, but we'll get that sent out, and get under Ben's signature. And then we need to get Jerry and maybe with Dale, the advisory board's help to get the new lease design
Right.
for bidding and go forth there,
At least for,
the farm ground.
okay.
We have new requirements
Yeah,
on safety.
remember that, yeah.
We're gonna shrink down the farmable ground, or at least get it converted to something that's lower crops, so that we don't have
Corn's
any
a little
issues.
taller this year than normal, right? Jesus. Never seen so tall.
last year it was really tall, but it's still pretty tall.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, so there's been a lot of positive things, so I think that's all I've got at this point. I don't know whether we want to meet or in closed session briefly, but on the issue of the jail dispatch, all that issue, but we'll talk about it.
And the other issue with the retirement fund.
Right, that's basic, yeah, both of them are kind of
Right.
merged, yes.
And then there's another item that I want to talk about in the executive session also.
I'm not quitting, you're not making me, you're not forcing me.
Shucks.
How about the booth?
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
You didn't give us much on, you usually give us a bigger finance report.
I actually haven't seen the finance report. I know that we've got a lot more stuff in, we went ahead and borrowed. I didn't find out, they were busy at the office, so I wasn't able to find out where we were on collections. I will at the next meeting, sorry.
Dan?
We did hire Linda Leaf as the assistant to Andrew. That'll be brought up next meeting to vote on, I guess. She's already started, so. She worked last week. I saw her in the ER one night. She said this was the fourth dog bite that she had checked out this last week. I saw the lady actually got bit by her own dog, so it was nice to see her. We are working on some pins out there. We hired a guy to work on, Dave and Esma, I think a little over $1,000, and I don't know if it started yet, but they're pins on the outside, but we're fixing them up so they can be used for winter time with heat and so forth. Andrew said she can take it out of her donations, so it won't come out of the building fund or anything. The cameras, I haven't heard back from her, trying to get Ross to install them. We have the cameras, we've had them for 2 or 3 months, but I don't know how to get a hold of him. Anybody got a suggestion where to get a hold of him?
I just left him, he's in the office.
What, I don't know where his office is.
Oh, he's in the assessment,
Supervisor.
treasurer's,
Was that in
treasurer's
courthouse?
office.
He's
No.
in the very back of the building of the supervisor.
In the
assessor's
courthouse?
office.
No,
west.
where Don Wiseman is, the treasurer's
Oh, okay.
office.
I'll stop by.
Yeah, go in there and ask for it.
Okay, good. Had a call last night on my cell phone, voicemail from Nicole Shaughnessy, and I tried to get back to her, but I didn't get a hold of her. In the meantime, I thought it was over the ambulance service, so I texted Dale and found out it wasn't over the ambulance service, over a dog problem, so I tried to call animal shelter this morning. It kicked off on the answer machine. I tried to call her on the cell phone. I didn't get her, so I'll work on it. But as we were talking a while ago, we really have no policy on dog biting dogs, so I guess we need to work on that. We do have policies on dog biting a human, what we do, but.
There probably is regulations, Dan, but
Pardon?
there probably is regulations
Yeah,
that
but-
the state has that Andrea could call the department. She's actually under the, what, Department of Ag or something like that that has that, and they probably have something.
I'll talk to her. I'll try to get hold of her this morning. So.
I have a question, Dan. I wondered if maybe, it seems like we're not maybe collecting as much as we should be on dog tags.
Yeah.
I know several years back, we weren't being very diligent about it, and we dropped to like,
Yeah,
not very many, and
I've
then,
seen the funds, yeah.
so, I mean, that needs to be
Okay. Well, I
addressed.
know with the help that she had, that would be one excuse, but with Linda, I think she can give her that assignment. So
I think we need to address that.
Well, we've talked to her about it.
Okay.
Alan Zuber have talked to her about it, so.
Okay. I'd just like to,
Yeah,
That's the letters that the previous
right.
animal shelter people have sent out.
Right.
Okay.
and we need
Kind of a
to,
reminder.
Some, and most people appreciate it, some.
Well, yeah, you don't keep
I
track
did,
of that.
I did.
And I've, once or twice have got a letter and I thought, well,
Yeah,
and,
that's the same way.
That's what I did, I went in and got
Right.
Woody taken care of.
We had dogs same way.
Right, and there's a difference between a neutered dog and a
Right.
non-neutered
Yeah,
dog.
we brought it up before, and we haven't followed up on it, so. I know
I think-
Zuber mentioned the postage that she's been paying for postage is a lot less than it used to be. She said something about, well, she had a lot of stamps left over, but I don't know about that, but we'll check on it.
Okay, because we.
I'll talk to her this morning and get a hold of her. She may be out taking care of that dog problem, I don't know, but
She could be.
I didn't have, I got a meeting with Annalise myself on that. So I think right now that's about it.
Carl?
Couple things that I had, something for the group to think about and we need to address with the sheriff and the merit commission. Whether we need to continue with the merit commission or not continue with it. I know there's some issues with one of the people on it, so we need to address that with the sheriff. And we can be thinking about it, the pros and cons of it, whether we actually still need to have that merit commission.
Is that required, or is it normal to have them? That's what I was wondering. Do you have to have it?
It was kind of a pre-union thing, wasn't it?
It was, my dad established that when he was sheriff in '70. Prior to that, every time you had a new sheriff, everybody was let go and
Oh, I
there was
see.
all new deputies, secretary, everything was brand new. And every 4 years, you just had a turnover.
I see.
So he got it established back in 1970 by the county board. They passed a resolution and it was protection for the
I see.
employees,
Yeah.
for,
Non-political reasons.
Yeah.
right,
Right.
basically, yeah.
Pretty much have team and team.
And it worked fine, but then, I think during Tim's administration, that's when the road deputies went union.
Okay.
And that kind of supersedes a lot of the stuff that, protection with the merit. So quite honestly, I'm not sure we really need it at this point in time.
They don't meet but what, once a year? I think Butch Graham and Cochran.
I think the only thing that the sheriff uses them for is in the hiring process, with the interviewing, but other than that, discipline and all that, that's just.
That's all
That's
pretty
set out
much.
in the union
That's
contract.
set on you, and that, we found out, that kind of
Yeah.
supersedes everything.
Yeah.
So, it's something we could discuss.
I think we need to go a path that's least confusing and the most direct.
Right.
I do.
Yeah.
Jim?
So we can talk about it, and we need to think about it when we get together and talk with him. As far as the 911, and the issue with the dispatchers, I know I went down to Clark County here a couple weeks ago and spent a couple hours down there with their 911 coordinator, and Nanette was down there also. And got some good information and, you know, asking questions and listening how they do things and everything. And I came away from that pretty well convinced that we need to get some way, somehow, we need to get our 911 coordinator back to the jail and involved in the process, you know, the dispatching, you know. Well, I figure out how we can get that done, but I'm convinced that's what needs to happen. And I know the state, you know, I heard a little bit about it, but I picked up from the, Jim Bender down there, the coordinator, that the state's requiring more accountability on 911. I know sometime in the next year, you know, I've heard Nanette talk about quality control.
The state police are gonna have this new commission that's
Right,
gonna
so-
oversee.
Right, right about that.
You know, you need to have someone specifically, you know, the sheriff, you know, he's got a lot of things on his plate, and that's just one less headache that he doesn't need. And, you know, you got the 911 coordinator that can focus, that's her only thing, is 911, and she can focus on that. You know, I've talked to quite a few different people throughout the county about problems with the service on 911, and I just think it requires someone that can be there and just hands-on strictly that, and not have to worry about anything else, you know, get less headache for the sheriff. So, I'm gonna talk with Nanette this week and see if we can get some things going, discussions with this. I know you've talked with the sheriff, and I think he feels, you know, he's willing to work with.
He's willing to explore,
Right.
just like you're talking about.
Yeah. So I think,
We're the ones actually that decide where the 911 coordinator is located.
Yeah, we should do.
And we need to remember, we have union contracts with, that designate the employer, employee, and it's just gonna take some finesse to
Time to change
figure
it.
out how to get it worked out.
right, and I think between everybody, for the best benefit of the, you know, the public for 911, that it can get worked out, and I think we can get it done.
Am I mistaken,
What about
is it gonna go through the Springfield, eventually all 911 calls? I read.
I hope not.
I think
Yeah,
I heard
I
something
would
about
too.
that.
You hear all kinds of things about what they may or may not
I
be
just
doing,
wondered.
but nothing is in effect like that
Not
now.
if there's in fact, but eventually they've said something about it may happen.
That would be a mess.
Oh, yeah, would be a
Yeah,
mess.
that-
Yeah, would be a mess.
That's just like the state police, you know, they had their districts in, you know, small areas, and now that's all
Yeah.
consolidated, and, you know, I think someone told me that we're being dispatched out of Springfield, you know, that's,
Used to be Pasota,
yeah, it used to be, so,
Right.
Sodom isn't there, or
No.
it's just,
it's there, but, you
man.
know, that, it's just an office for some of the higher ups and stuff. I talked with the city again, and talked with Paul, and I think they're still interested in talking, but I told him we need to get things worked out on our end, get some ways, you know, get it all worked out on our end, and then we can bring the city in to have a conversation and see if we can get combined dispatch. But we've got some issues that we've got to deal with on our end, or we can talk with the city. And Paul agreed with that and thought that was good. And, you know, when we get that done, then they'd be interested in talking and go from there. And that's all I had, I think.
okay. Augie?
No, I don't have anything. I don't think I do. Do I? Any questions for me? Okay.
Well, you said you had something for closed session.
Do you want to go back to public comment, if Jane has anything? to say?
Sure.
Okay. Thought we'd give you a chance.
No, just listen.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to go in for, sorry. compensation,
Employment,
employment,
performance,
performance. Is that it?
Pending litigation.
Just in case?
Mhm.
And pending, pending or existing litigation?
Is that in the form of a
Yes.
motion?
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
usual sign.
Aye.
Opposed, same signs.
Mr. Bogdan.
Motion carries.
Robert, I've seen the one. That's pretty busy.